Gibbons, the show where we really get to know your favorite creators and make some music together. Today's show featuring the nicest man on the internet, YouTube sensation SanjayC.
Beats and Chats.
All right, so here we are, episode 2 of Beats and Chats. And I'm so excited to have somebody on here that has a tremendously huge following already in a short amount of time. And there's a reason for that because his videos are amazing. And we have SanjayC in the house. Welcome, SanjayC, to Beats and Chats.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I watched one of your previous episodes and it was so much fun. And when you invited me, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to be a guest. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this.
Right on. Yeah. So Uncle Knock, first guest, and it was great having him on there. And then just having you on here now is just incredible. It's going to be great for a lot of my followers to see what you do and what you're up to. But the truth is probably most of my followers already follow you. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I think we have a very similar approach to teaching and to sharing, and obviously the same passion, and it just shows in all of your videos.
Thank you.
You've been a huge influence on me as well with my YouTube experience.
Well, likewise, it's nice to be inspired by each other with the work that you do too. It's totally inspiring.
Yeah, so I think the thing that we don't get to talk about as much when we're making our YouTube videos is who are we and how do we get here? And
that's true.
Do you want to just give us a synopsis of Sanjay as a kid and music and what that meant to you?
Yeah, so I've been doing music stuff since I was about 5 years old. I started with classical piano, and I would say actually for the first 15 years of me learning music, it was half a chore and half enjoyable. Now thinking back, I was so glad I did that because that really created the foundation, right? Yeah. I think my own real love of the creation process and music making really happened when I started writing my own stuff. And in high school, I was still taking classical piano lessons, but I wanted to try something else. I wanted to do different types of music. I wanted to do pop music and different things, what I heard on the radio.
Right.
So I started to recreate that because all of a sudden I'm like, okay, I can layer sounds. I had this old Yamaha, it was a Yamaha CVP65. I think that was the model. It's like a digital piano, but it had this floppy disk drive in it. So it was real old school. So you could put a floppy disk in there and then you can record 16 tracks of whatever you play on the piano. I started layering different sounds and recreating the songs that were on the radio. And I built a collection of them and I made a mixtape with it. And I took it to high school and I took it to the guys who were doing the morning announcements. And I said, hey, would you play this over the morning announcements? Yeah. And they were like, okay, fine. I don't know who you are, but okay, you're just the kid in the school.
Yep.
Other kids in my high school heard that and they came up to me and they said, hey, was that you on the morning announcements? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, hey, maybe we can start a band. That's really what happened.
That's what it was.
And I was this really, really quiet kid in school. Hardly anybody knew me.
Yeah.
And that moment kind of changed everything.
That is awesome. So your amazing MIDI compositions through this multi-timbral old workstation keyboard. That's how it started, right?
Well, you added the amazing in there. I don't know if it was amazing back then.
That is awesome. And you know what? I think my first experience was the same thing. I got an Alesis QS8, which was their multi-timbral keyboard. Same thing, just...
It's so exciting when you can start layering that stuff and you're like, oh, this is starting to sound like the stuff on the radio.
Exactly.
All right, I can do it.
Yeah.
I was working with Logic back when it was eMagic before Apple bought.
Yeah.
I learned enough to get by and record some songs, and that's how it started. I put together a band when I was in high school and just started writing songs, and that became the thing I loved most. Taught myself music production. Mm-hmm. Yeah, eventually I'd actually taken a little break from music for about 10 years.
You went to school, you went to college or university? And
I was actually working at that time. So I had done music before and I'd collaborated with people, but then all of a sudden I was kind of just doing it by myself. And it's so much fun when you work with other people. And I think that really sparks inspiration and keeps you motivated. But without a motivator like that, you just really need something else. But I think this is way before like Instagram and social media, where people could just share things with the world and get feedback and grow a community. It was just me alone in my bedroom. And I'm like, it's hard to keep motivated in that way.
Yeah.
And then YouTube happened, right? And I thought, well, maybe if I documented a new journey of me getting back into music, it would keep me motivated.
Right.
So I tried that. So I put a video out. I bought a Seaboard block back then. That was new. And I said, well, let me just create a little video with the Seaboard block. And I'll keep going from then on to keep myself inspired. And I did that, and people were interested. They liked watching me make stuff and put my music out and review gear. And it just started building from there. And I've been on YouTube now for about 4 years. And yeah, it's now like probably my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
The first thing I bought was that Seaboard block. I was like, okay, this is going to help me stay inspired.
Yeah.
Got some new piece of gear, so it's always fun.
Totally.
And I better make a video on this. And the next thing I do, the next thing I learn, I'm going to make a video on that and keep going.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you're very similar to me. You do these little compositions using whatever you're showing off and just sort of putting yourself out there, and you read through the comments and everybody loves it. And the funny thing about this whole YouTube thing and the timing of the pandemic and all that kind of stuff, it's like, this is a way to work with other people. And by that, I don't mean, or not even necessarily working with people, but we are inspiring other people like you would at a show.
Yes.
But it's in a totally different way. So we are still stuck in our rooms by ourselves, but we get to interact.
Exactly. And keeping those connections and making those connections the way we do, like you and me right now, or even me with my community and people who share their music with me. That's where it's really exciting, because that's what I used to get when I collaborated with, somebody in my band. But now it's like, all over the world.
So the pandemic thing comes along. How much do you think that had an influence on your channel and what you're doing?
Huge, obviously. I mean, here's the thing. So I'd passed 100,000 subscribers right before the pandemic hit. But yeah, it's been like maybe a year and a half since then. People in my comments were like, hey, I'm just getting started into music. And there were so many more people who said that during this pandemic. Like, people are at home wanting to spend their time doing something, always wanted to learn music production. And there they were. And it was just, good time to be making YouTube videos.
But being a YouTube creator, working with other companies, what do you find are the challenges with that? And what do you find are like the things that you love about that? So
when I first started YouTube, I used to watch other YouTubers who would even like Casey Neistat or something, or Peter McKinnon, and they would have like mail time or something where like, hey, 40 companies sent me all the coolest gear I've ever seen. And it's like, they're just opening this stuff. And I'm like, wow, it's like dream job. That's my dream, to have that problem.
Yeah, exactly.
and I'll tell you, it's actually really cool to be able to be in touch with companies who want to send you stuff all the time, who want you to try out their gear, who want to see their gear in your videos. It feels really good, and it's really fun to have that. But I'll say this though. I think I get really excited when there's something brand new that I get to work with a company before the product even releases. And with a company who wants feedback, with a company who says, we love what you're doing, and we're interested to know what you think because you have knowledge about your own audience. And I'm like, wow, these conversations are the ones that I like. The free gear is fun, but that kind of thing runs out after a while. But working with people who are being innovative and being part of that innovation conversation, that is the most fun part for me.
What about competing companies? Right? Like, you're reviewing this and then tomorrow you're reviewing this.
So that crosses my mind every now and then. But I'll say this, that I make videos that I enjoy making and that I think my audience will like watching and will get value from, right? And ultimately, at the end of the day, my top priority is my audience and keeping my audience's trust. And as long as I can keep bringing them content that does that, that's enough. And they ask, what's best for me? What are these features? Who's innovating? Who's going to give me the best device for my money? it's going to give us better products from these companies.
That is something that we have in our industry. There's so much more to choose from. There isn't a monopoly out there, which is what does keep things grinding and getting better and better. What do you think about like the subscription services that are coming out now?
Oh, that's a good question. There are some that work, I think. I think Output Arcade works.
Yes.
I will say this. When I first tried out Output Arcade, I wasn't a big fan. I just couldn't figure out the workflow. Wasn't inspiring to me. I didn't get into it. And I had that conversation with them too. But I'm trying it out again. The 2.0 just came out, so I'm trying it again. And I already like it more than when I first tried it out. But I think the value that they bring is that they give you a plugin, they give you a bunch of samples, and they give you ways to create stuff through their plugin in your DAW. But at the same time, they're constantly putting in more content. Mm-hmm. I think that brings value. That makes sense in a subscription service. I see so many companies moving towards this. It's a hard sell right now unless you really provide more value consistently and regularly.
Mm-hmm. At some point, we're going to hit the saturation point, and at that point, I'm concerned that it will be impossible to stop this machine that's been started. I am concerned about things going too far in that direction. So we'll see what happens. It'll be funny watching this video 5 years from now and going, yeah, man, everything's subscription now. And
look at those guys talking about subscription models. What were they talking about? It's all subscription now, and it's all good.
Exactly. What is some of your favorite gear that you've been working with lately? And do you actually have time to get excited about gear because you do a video and then you maybe use it? This happens to me where you get a piece of gear like the Touche. I love that thing.
Yes.
But then I got to make other videos.
I have the Touche. It's like over there. I can see it. And I know, and I always think about it. I'm like, I need to put it on my desk so I play it more because it's just so awesome. It's a very inspiring instrument. It feels so good to play. But now I got to make those other videos. So I don't have room for it on my desk right now. And then I never get to it. And that happens with so many things. And, but I'll tell you this, what I get excited about is not something that tries to do everything, but something that tries to do one thing really well or a couple things really well, like the Touche. And it's like you put it on your desk, load up our plugin, and you're going to be excited when you hear the sound. That's exactly what I want. And the Seaboard kind of did that too, which is why I really like the Seaboard. And it's I keep going back to things like that. The other thing so one thing that got me really excited recently, for years, I've always wanted to try a Neumann U87 microphone. Mm-hmm. And after decades of dying to even touch one, I finally got one. You
got one.
And I'll tell you, it lives up to the hype. Yeah. It totally lives up to the hype.
Yeah, they are great microphones.
It's a fantastic mic. I put it through, what did I put it through? I put it through my my BAE 1073 preamp. Yep. And then I put it through a tube type compressor and hit the record button. And I was like, this sounds like a finished song. Wow. It's that good. A couple other things that I got really excited about recently. Some plugins, actually. The Baby Audio Smooth Operator plugin. People are using it for different things, and some people are having great success, and other people are like, okay, whatever. But I put it on my vocals, and there was always a problem with my vocals. There's this little bump at about 300 hertz that is always a problem on my vocal recordings. I put this on, just dragged one little control, and it fixed what I've been trying to fix forever. Again, see, that's another thing that does just one thing. It's very simple, but it does it well.
Did you say something about the Mellotron?
Yes. I have the Mellotron. I've actually had it for a while, but it hardly makes it into any of the videos. Another piece of gear that really inspires me is my Rhodes stage piano. I've got a Mark I stage piano, and it's gorgeous. As soon as I hit the keys, I'm just like inspired. I want to write a song. It's one of those instruments. And I never expected the Mellotron to be that at all. Yeah. And it really surprised, because there's Mellotron plugins, right? That even have recordings from original Mellotrons. So you can get the sound in your DAW without getting this thing. For some reason, it is very inspiring to play. So yeah, I wanted to pull this out for our interview today, and maybe we can play around with it later.
I think we should. That'll be awesome. Yeah, the Rhodes. When did you get your Rhodes?
I actually got it many, many years ago.
You did? Oh, so you've always had it.
Before I started the YouTube channel, before any of that, it was just something that I always liked the sound of the Rhodes. Back then, I was able to get it for like $600 on eBay.
Yeah, I saw you write $600 on eBay on your video. I don't remember which video, but you actually said that Rhodes $600.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, that's going to give some people some false hope because I have to add to the story because this is where it gets a little funny because I go on auction, like online auctions all the time. So local auctions where people are selling stuff. And so this one auction is about probably 250 miles away. And I'm going through this auction and it's all like old lady jewelry and utensils and stuff like this, and page after page of this, and I'm like, whatever. Nobody's looking at this auction. And I get to the last page, and there's a Fender Rhodes, and it's like it's sitting on the floor. You can see the speaker cabinet. It's the suitcase, and the speaker cabinet's got like fabric ripped off the back of it, and it says something like needs work, doesn't work, or something like this. It was at $250. So I get it gets up to 600 at 625 or 650. I was like, okay, that's it. Anyways, long story short, they ship it out. These guys drive it down on a rainy day. It just happened to not rain for their journey in the middle of winter.
Wow.
And it worked.
Nice.
The best part about this keyboard is the live feeling of it and the way it hits those little metal tines or whatever, And,
exactly. Yeah. It's those other noises that you don't hear.
Yeah.
In the sample recordings,
exactly.
Those hammers and the imperfections too.
Yeah,
yes.
Really interesting. What do you think about the new Rhodes that's coming out?
Oh, I'm super excited about that too.
Got some effects built into some of the models.
Yeah,
and I wonder if it's gonna have MIDI out. That would be kind of interesting. Hey,
you want to have that vintage feel to it. You want to have the original feel. Otherwise, it becomes something else. So I talked about my Rhodes in that one video because I actually enjoy playing it so much. I wanted to sample it and kind of learn how to make a sampled instrument by sampling my Rhodes. And I actually did that to create what I call Sanjay's Rhodes. And I sampled it and made a playable instrument in Contact so you could actually play and hear exactly what my Rhodes sounds like.
Perfect. It's kind of like Alicia's keys, piano, and SanjayC's Rhodes, right?
Heck yeah. There you go. Alicia and SanjayC will come out with an instrument one day.
Yeah, collab of some sort, for sure. So speaking of which, other YouTubers who you are inspired by?
I think I like YouTubers who do something completely different from what I do.
Yeah. So give us some.
I know this guy on Instagram, Oora Music. What I like about his channel is that it's such a different vibe from mine. I'm like, hey, let's get to the information. Yeah. And he's more like, I'm going to, fiddle around with this instrument for about 10 minutes before I say anything. Yeah. And I just love that vibe. I really appreciate people who put time into making gear look good, which is one of the reasons I like your channel too, because I think people need to be excited by this in all different ways. It's not just about the sound. It's a connection that we have. It's about the touch. It's about the way things look. Why not have all of that in the video? And I think it just makes things exciting and interesting and inspiring all together. It takes more time, and I see the time you put into your videos. Yes. It's very cool to watch. It gives a great ambiance. I feel inspired after leaving it, and I feel like I want to make music. I want to get the vibe I just felt by watching this person. I've got the other YouTubers that I always watch. I mean, Taetro and Beats and stuff like that. Accurate Beats, right?
Accurate Beats, I love him.
I don't make like Accurate. I can't scratch like Accurate, but I love watching that.
Yeah, and it's such an incredible community. Like I think to anybody starting out YouTube, I'd put off YouTube forever. I can remember my brother telling me he's into web software, and he's like, you should start making tutorials. And I'm like, And then when YouTube comes along, he's like, you should make YouTube videos. I'm just like, have you seen the comments on YouTube? It's just like a cesspool of comments, right? That's literally what I thought this whole thing would be. I started making some videos, and then all of a sudden it's like the most supportive place I've ever been and I've ever done anything.
I was so surprised too.
Yes. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get your take on that. But that's the reason I'm doing this, is because the comments have been so supportive. Yeah. Were you expecting that when you started out with YouTube?
No, I was expecting negative comments. Yeah. As the community grows, I see more and more support. I see people supporting each other in the comments section. This is exactly the way it should be. So I am super hopeful, and it totally it's completely different than I expected it would be. I always believe that we bring something different. Each one of us brings something different that appeals to different people out there, or to people's different moods. You know, today maybe, you know, they're in the mood to watch Jeff make a beat.
Yeah.
The next day they're like, I don't know, I'm looking for a mini keyboard. I'll go see what SanjayC has to say. And I love the different vibes that people bring.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that there's an audience for everyone. Somebody wants to hear what you say. Put what's in your heart out, and you know, you'll find your audience.
Yeah, exactly. Huh. So we're getting into the motivational things. So I might as well ask you about, you know, your first few videos with the kids in India. You're the one where you're showing the drone and the look on the kids' faces. I was just like,
oh, I know.
Man.
Absolutely. Yeah. So my wife and I were really lucky to be able to go to India some years ago to teach. And we kind of went there thinking, well, we'd like to do something because we want to give back in some way. And what are we going to teach? Well, I'm like, well, I can teach computers. So I did that. So I just gave a class on computers. And when I contacted that school, I was like, you know, do you have a bunch of students that maybe you don't have a computer teacher or something like that? And they said, we actually have a better idea. We want you to teach the parents of the kids, because they're the ones who can't seem to find a place to learn how to use computers. So I actually went there and I taught a 2-day course on just basics, how to turn on a computer, how to use a keyboard, how to access email, how to get on the internet, things these people had never done before. And to just see their face light up when they sent that first email, and like I was showing them on my phone, look, I got your first email you just sent. It was amazing. So my wife taught behavioral management
for those
for kids.
Intellectual developmental disabilities.
Get her in there.
Why don't you say what it is?
Hello.
Dharti can explain it much better than I can try to. She's a psychologist.
My aim was to go to a country where talking about mental health and just even having any sort of illness, developmental, intellectual, is such a taboo. There's this shame that goes with the family and just the individual that they're not allowed the house. So what I created was a program and just like a course for the teachers so they can learn how to manage behaviors better and just really be educated on intellectual developmental disabilities, learning disabilities. And it turned out to be insanely inspiring, moving class, and just women being like, my child actually has trouble reading. And I thought that it was my fault that I did that to them. And I'm like, no, maybe they're dyslexic. You know, maybe they're just a little behind developmentally and they just need a tutor. And that was actually in the computer class, which was so inspiring. Actually, we both ended up crying in that moment. Man. Was like, one of the moms was like, another person had that kind of feeling too, that what am I doing wrong, me and my husband, that my child doesn't know how to read. And Sanjay taught her, here, just type in 10 ways to teach my child read. And within 0.6 seconds or something, it popped up and she was just crying. And I was crying and he was crying. We did this like for a few years, every year. It just mattered that there was another human there with another human, giving that connection, just giving simple tools.
Yeah, that's powerful.
The last time we went to India, we found an orphanage with, you know, kids there who wanted to learn music, but they didn't have anything. They didn't have, you know, a keyboard to play or anything. So what we did this last time is we took them some keyboards to start learning music on their own. And next time I want to do more. I want to get them started maybe on music production some way, take them a computer and show them how they can start creating their own songs. So it's exciting to be able to do stuff like this. And I'd love to get companies involved in this as well.
And a lot of these are females too. So it was like adding the other layer of like, okay, music isn't just for boys, it's for girls. And there's like little young like beatboxers, little girls that are beatboxing or singing. And it was just like so amazing that, oh my God, I can do this too.
Well, then next time you go, as soon as we get this rolling, I'll come with you. How about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that'd be
Wouldn't
awesome.
that be fun?
Love it. Love, love, love it.
For sure.
So tell us how it was for you getting involved with what he's doing here.
Oh gosh. You know, actually the funny thing is we started YouTubing for me. So I wanted to be a YouTuber like for a long, long time, like over 10, 12, probably 15 years I've been wanting to be a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I wanted to create that platform so I can help people and spread the word about just everything, just life and mental health and all sorts of stuff, you know? And then I was changing my careers, and then he just continued, and he was so consistent and determined. And I was like here and there, like if I'm sharing stories, I'm sharing stories about my life and the people in it. So I've been kind of lagging behind, and he just blew up and it became SanjayC. and then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm meant for this, maybe I'm not.
And you're so natural in front of the camera.
Oh, thank you so much.
I love having your segment in the videos. It's so fun. It's just changeover.
She's a natural. For me, it's like, yeah, I get in front of the camera like, okay, all right, I gotta say this, gotta do this. But she's like, camera turns on, she's like, go, let's do it.
Ready to roll.
It was just like, you are meant to do this. And I've been telling him for years that you are meant to be someone like on this huge platform, because you have a voice and you have this like incredible story that so many people will relate to. And he's just so talented. Like, I'm totally not biased. So I believe in him.
Yeah.
I believe in what we have as a unique couple and what we bring. And so I'm here.
That's awesome. Well,
she's the best.
Like, I understand it too with my wife helping me on everything that I do. She's the one filming all the time and setting everything up. And I can't make a video without her being in here to set it all up. Like, it's just...
That's awesome.
That's amazing. And we got to see that. So you are a very lucky guy.
She doesn't like being on camera quite as much as you. So...
Oh, no, I run in his spotlight. I'm like, where's the spotlight? Yes, I will run in.
It's so much fun. I mean, I think for all of us, anyone who's built up subscribers on YouTube, it's more of an if you build it, they will come kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Because when you're first starting, there is nobody there. It's like crickets, you know, and and then something starts happening, and so for me, I don't know where I'm going, but I'd love to know what you're thinking for the future of what you're doing with YouTube, or the future of, or just what the future looks like, or are you just kind of doing your thing? You're plugging your videos in and doing your weekly thing and just watching the magic happen.
I ask myself this question all the time, like, what's this all for? And a part of it is I kind of want to leave it open to see where it goes. That's one side. It can become something. It can lead me down a musical path, right? With collaborations, with putting more music out. Or it could be that I continue to teach and review things, and I enjoy doing that too, and continue that. And then I actually sat down a couple of months ago and I said, maybe I should just write down what this is and what I want to do with it. And one of the things I wrote down, I want to be the best resource for home producers on YouTube. That says a lot. And so it's something to aspire to. Mm-hmm. I want to never achieve it, because then I always will strive to be better, and I always will strive to provide more and give more. And because that's what I enjoy doing. And I think I'll look back and I'll say to this time in my life and say, I really enjoyed turning that camera on, making music and sharing it with the world. And I think that will be something that I will hold close to my heart. And that would be enough for me.
Yeah, that is awesome. Yeah, I feel like our childhood, our upbringing in North America, we would learn something and then we'd arrive at some place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe in your 20s or your 30s, and you'd arrive at this place and then you'd be that thing until you retire. And then you'd retire and live off the fruits of your labor. And a lot of people our age are starting to realize this isn't the case. And I think that's just so exciting, isn't it? Anybody at any age can go, you know what, there's actually more. I think watching you with what you're doing on your channel and with me, it's like we've realized I can just keep learning. And I think it takes a certain type of person to want to keep learning, and there are different paths for other people, of course, but I do feel like that's part of the power of social media and YouTube, is this,
Absolutely.
I'm going to become a mechanic. I'm going to start working on old cars, and then all of a sudden you do, and you're in your 40s, and that becomes a thing or whatever, or learning music. And I think the music making thing, I think what's causing the growth is just so many people are realizing, I am 35, but I can learn music. I can learn to play piano, and empowering people with that is obviously like what makes all of this so incredible. I just realized I didn't ask you something people don't know about you.
Something I'm into. You probably know a good answer to this. Can you think of something?
Just off the top of my head, like instantly, because you guys are talking tech, people are always so surprised that SanjayC plays video games.
Aha, there we go.
He's a big video gamer. Like, you love playing video games.
I love playing video games. Whenever I think of what am I going to do when I have some free time,
right.
Video games is like at the top of the list. I think it relaxes me.
What kind of video games?
I've been a huge Halo fan for a long time, but now I've been trying the Star Wars games. I've been trying the last Grand Theft Auto game that I never got a chance to play. So I'm just like pulling all these old games that I never had a chance to play for since I haven't been playing for so many years. That's awesome. But I'm getting back into it, and it's just the most relaxing thing. I'm loving it.
Grand Theft Auto, the most relaxing thing.
Yes,
right.
Absolutely.
I'm just kidding.
Get those guns out and
That's right. No, but I totally understand that. And anything else you wanted to mention about interest that Sanjay has that people don't know about?
Oh, he's a great waffle maker.
A waffle maker?
He is great at baking.
Yes, I'm actually known for that.
And he is known
for baking
waffles, yes.
By hundreds, maybe even thousands of people.
All right.
For his waffles.
Now it's going to be a lot more.
And he makes these yummy toppings for
Next YouTube video.
I know, you should.
How to make SanjayC's waffles.
Dude, that could go really big. You never know.
We travel just to eat. We love food and trying different restaurants.
I look forward to food.
Yeah.
I also like training my animals, my dog, and training them how to do tricks and things like that.
And do you still have a dog and a cat?
This is Kyoto. She's 9 years old. She wears socks when we're filming because otherwise, her feet on the floor make a lot of noise and get picked up by the mic.
Brilliant. And then here comes your cat.
She knows how to do lots of tricks and stuff.
She's turning 9 soon, which makes us sad. And then he's 7.
Rome,
that's right.
Yes, baby.
I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
I'm not comfortable in large groups. I feel self-conscious when I'm giving my opinions about stuff in my videos. I second guess myself all the time. Everyone feels the way you do. And if you're one of those people who think you've got something to offer the world, put yourself out there. Don't wait. Put it out there. Like I was telling Jeff earlier, you'll find your audience, the people who appreciate your view of the world and what you have to share. But start putting it out there. Try to be fearless. Don't worry so much about what people think, and just be you and put yourself out there.
I think that's a great way to end this segment. That's perfect. So let's make some music.
Make the music you love.
Yeah, make the music you love. That's right.
We're going to make the music we love.
So what we're going to do here is we're going to actually use Ableton Live. And
nice.
I don't have any videos on Ableton Live because I'm not an Ableton Live user, but I did buy the Push 2 and Ableton, and I'm really excited about messing around with this thing. I haven't had the time, though, to really invest in it. So you can help me and maybe give us some tips as we go along, and we'll try just recording something on the Mellotron. Maybe we'll try chopping it up in the Push, and then we'll put a beat to it.
I've got a chord progression in mind, and maybe I'll record that. I want to hear you put a beat to that.
Excellent. So thanks so much for doing this, for coming on episode 2 of Beats and Chat.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on. And I loved our chat, and I love your channel. So I want to see more of these interviews too. I love learning more about people who are, doing the things that we're doing and who are other musicians out there. Thank you so much for having me, for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much for including me. And you are doing an excellent job. Like it's actually meaningful work. And I love the way you're approaching this, and that's just amazing, and it's with so much positivity and thoughtfulness. So thank you so much for having us here.
My pleasure. And let's go make some music.
Yeah.
Right on.
Peace.
Okay, so I just recently got this Mellotron, and it is super inspiring and fun to play. The cool thing about this Mellotron is that you can combine two recorded sounds in here. So I've got the vibes, and then there's a nylon guitar. And you can combine them. So now combined. There's another really cool trick you can do with this. It actually has a pitch knob here. So while you're playing a chord, so you could be playing this, and then you can give it that lo-fi vibe just by turning this knob. But yeah, it's such a cool instrument. I love it.
How old is this particular one here?
This is one of the latest ones. I would say it's hardly even related to the original Mellotron. I was playing these chords earlier today, and I just kind of like the vibe that they have. So I recorded that. Here's the good thing about this though, since it doesn't matter about the tempo and stuff. In Ableton, if you throw it into simpler, you can just chop it up anywhere you want, then put whatever BPM you want, whatever beat you want, and then play it like you're playing them on pads or something.
Let's do it. So here we are, Ableton Live. And I know session view.
That's good. Most people are like, oh, I like arrangement view. They don't like session view. Load up simpler.
Okay, so we go over to instruments, simpler. And so here, where do I find just simpler instead of a preset for simpler?
So you see the simpler heading?
Yeah.
Okay, so just drag that. Just drag the heading, and you'll just get a blank simpler.
I could not figure that out. Thank you, Sanjay. Okay. There we go.
You can just drag the marker to the last chord progression. Yeah, there you go.
All right.
And pick the end point.
And is there some way to get rid of everything else?
Yeah, if you right-click the area that you want, I think you'll have a crop or something.
Beauty. So for slicing, go to slice, and then we'll go to slice by.
You can actually even keep it by transient if you want, and you can lower the sensitivity and see what it does. It might do something interesting. And if it doesn't, yeah, you can change it to regions or whatever. If you right click just the middle of the sample wave and click slice to drum rack, now what it does is it's taken all your slices and has put them in drum pads. So you can add effects to individual ones, so it'll change them based on the tempo. Now, what you can do is if you don't want it to do that, there should be a warp button in simpler. If you uncheck the warp button, it'll just keep what my playing was originally.
Can I take one slice now? I just want to copy this guy over to this one. Do I just hold Option and drag maybe?
Yeah.
Boom, there it is. Okay, and then I can go to this one, change the tuning of this one, right? So I can just go, where would that be? Right.
You should see, do you see transpose there? Click on Control, the top right of simpler.
There we go. Transpose, there we go. This is killing all your Ableton users.
No, but then you're also teaching a whole bunch of non-Ableton users what they could do. Let's try it. Yeah.
we go.
And what's your tips on finding good?
You're in drum
racks?
picks, right?
Yeah.
I used the Bonzo kit recently, and I really liked it. Try that.
Oh, that's fun. It's got some Sean Wasabi sort of. Have you ever seen Sean Wasabi before?
No, I don't think so.
He used one of those 20 or 64 pad controllers and does this stuff. Look him up, Sean
Oh,
Wasabi.
wow. I gotta look him
I'm
up.
telling you, this guy is.
I'm so envious
so
of like
good.
really good finger drummers.
And he's got 64, and they're changing. So I think he's probably got like 1,000 sounds memorized in his head where they are throughout a performance. And it's like it's a couple of years old now. It's like a number, probably 5 years old or something, and it's just bonkers. The guy's amazing. Oh, I like this. Nice.
How do you like drumming on the push? How do you like the pads?
They feel good. I love the machine ones. I like the machine ones a bit
I
better.
prefer the machine pads, actually.
Yeah.
You're not like me. I'll be doing, okay, first we'll do the hi-hats, and then we'll do the snare.
Oh, that was bad timing, but let's see if that quantize fixes that one for me. I was thinking we could use the...
Oh yeah, if you got a synth. What are you playing there?
I have a JX3P, and I literally dusted it off this morning because I haven't played it forever. Yeah, another Craigslist find, like $600. Back. Okay, so we've got a couple of tracks in here. Sanjay's helped me fumble my way through Ableton, and I'm having a lot of
No, you're already really good.
So now what we'll do is I'm going to send this back to Sanjay. He's going to play around with this for a bit, and then I'll play around with a bit, and then I'm going to show you the finished product. But
the big reveal.
the big
at the
reveal.
end.
Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been awesome.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to meet in real life.
Me too. Thank you so much for having me, and hello to your entire audience. And you guys are in great hands with Jeff. And thank you, Jeff, so much. This was really awesome.
Yes, and thanks to your amazing wife as well. And to my amazing wife. Amazing wife.
Yes,
by the way.
yes.
Awesome. Okay, take care, my friend.
Take care. Make the music you love, everyone.